Amazon by taking Parler off of their servers. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, but it's a free speech thing, and who are we to, decide who gets to be on Twitter and who doesn't? No, you know what? These people are a threat to the country. We should treat them like we would if ISIS was on Twitter and ISIS was using Facebook and ISIS was using Instagram. It should be the same thing. Get them, the FUCK, off of there. I don't give a shit about their First Amendment rights because they're using their First Amendment rights to subvert every other amendment.
Well, that's just it. They don't actually have that right. There isn't the First Amendment right to be on Twitter, to incite violence, to do any of those things. And one of the things that's driving me crazy about that is this happens all the time. It's just like I said about the double standard earlier, that Republicans aren't concerned about these things until it's done by their side. And here's a fine example of that. We're constantly, every time something happens to a Republican who's thrown off of something or gets in trouble for something or says something that gets them banned or gets them blowback, it becomes, oh my God, this is censorship, this is wrong, this is blah, 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 blah. But I can go through a list of shit that everyone's fine with, from the Dixie Chicks to Kathy Griffin, right, to you name it, to Colin Kaepernick, right, to that's okay. The NFL tried to ruin him because they're a private company and they could do what they want. Republicans only scream censorship when they feel they don't get a platform to say whatever they want. There are over a dozen social media platforms. Everyone keeps talking about this monopoly that Twitter and Facebook have. No, they have the most. Yes, they have the most users, okay? It's not a monopoly. You have a dozen different social media networks where you can go and spew whatever you want that has different rules and aren't Facebook and Twitter, but serve the same function. They're just not as popular. Not as many people are there, but they're available. This isn't censorship.
And you know what I find is a great irony this week, and then I'll throw it to you, Greg. I just want to make this one observation, that the only major platform that hasn't barred Trump is TikTok. Trump can become a TikTok sensation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's crazy. One site that hasn't gotten a lot of play is something called Shopville. Okay, and Shopville is the site that actually sells Donald Trump's online presence. As far as the official Donald Trump store, they've banned him now too.
No more merchandise?
As far as I just read an article, whether it's fake or not, who knows? But but yes, Shopville, one of the big Donald Trump campaign stores, they've banned him now too.
How ironic would it be that Trump and the Republicans were taken down by the free market? Out of all the things that have been tried over the years to squash this and to, really shed light on this and what they're doing, from the duplicity to the inciting violence to the lying to the American people about everything, like how ironic would it be if it's the free market that did what unfortunately Democrats have failed at doing time and time and time again?
Well, I love your observation, but I'm gonna go a little further. It's not the free market that has taken Donald Trump down. It's not the Proud Boy militia movement that has taken Trump down. It's not the Democrats and Joe Biden stealing an election that has taken Donald Trump has taken Donald Trump down. I have said on this podcast, and I have known since 2017, that this man was going to self-destruct someday. I didn't know when and I didn't know how, but I knew that given enough rope, he would hang himself, and this week he did.
Right, and in fact, Lindsey Graham said back in 2016, he said, if we elect Donald Trump as our candidate, he will take down the Republican Party. He will be the end of the Republican Party. And, say what you will about Lindsey Graham, but he's completely right. As of now, Trump is the kiss of death. Look at Georgia, for example. I mean, it was him backing the two Senate candidates that caused them to lose, if you ask me.
Okay. You know? Well, we're far into our podcast, and we still haven't talked about what's coming this week, which is the impeachment hearings.
Maybe.
Or the impeachment vote, and then the question of whether there'll be a Senate trial.
But door number 3, with him resigning. And remember, Nixon resigned when he realized that there were enough Republicans, the majority of Republicans, or there were enough Republicans to impeach him also, and he would lose everything. He might say, I think this might be the time to shuffle off to Buffalo.
You naive bastard.
You know, that's not the first time I've been called that.
We're talking about two different Donald Trumps. There's no way in hell he is going to resign. That would be admitting defeat. The man can't do that. He couldn't even do it when he was legitimately defeated. He's not. He's going to ride this out for 11
Not
days.
a chance he resigns. Not a chance. This guy also, let's say for a second that Donald Trump is actually charged with anything, like such as people talk about when the state of New York comes after him or whatever. Donald Trump is certain that even if he's charged with something, that he's got the lawyers to delay this stuff for the rest of his life. He doesn't think he's going to jail for any period of time. He doesn't think anything like that's going to happen to him. He's not resigning. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, resigning would be admitting culpability, admitting he was a bad president, admitting he was the worst president in history. He's not going to do it. Now, the question is, and we've also pretty much, unless something happens, but in the next week, it's pretty doubtful that Pence is going to invoke the 25th or try to invoke the 25th. So the question is, should the Congress be going through this exercise that is not going to remove Trump from office because they cannot get the Senate to vote on this unless, again, there was some existential threat that Donald Trump started to pose this week? The Senate is not going to move on it. Do you think this is something that they should move forward with? Is it just a display of anger? And is it good or bad for the Biden administration if the House does indeed impeach?
Peggy Noonan said it best.
She always does.
No. First of all, Peggy Noonan and I have had huge issues ever since we had a terrible luncheon date, which ended awkwardly. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm right here. Okay. I showed up. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to be there. All right?
I know. Just two gentlemen callers.
I
Who
actually
knew?
know a guy that dated Peggy Noonan once, but go on.
I would love to hear that story.
You know me.
So Peggy Noonan said it best. The Republican Party needs to be part of this, and they need to impeach Trump. They need to let everyone know, and they need to let that they are a serious party again, and that this is what happens when you kind of slag off at the end, and that they will not do a reality game show host ever, because this was ridiculous, especially after this week. It's the only way they'll get any credibility back. Now, whether their base sees it that way or not, but it's true. They're the laughingstock. They're going to lose every election from here on out.
Oh, no.
No,
they're not. You naive bastard.
Due respect, Mr. Matusa.
Someone just recently called me a naive bastard, and if I remember who it is, I'm going to kick his ass.
Let me tell you something. You know what they think? They think they just nominated and elected the wrong game show host. They're not thinking, oh, gee, what did we do? They're thinking, boy, we just fell 2 weeks short of the perfect scam.
Dude, Democrats are the ones that win elections and go, now it's time for us to really reflect on why we didn't win bigger,
right,
and try to really pander to the people that hate us. Republicans are the one that go, oh, we really just lost. Let's act like we won and keep doing what we were doing and even do it more so. I don't know where you think. Yes, they absolutely do. They act like they won. So there's not going to be any of that. And that's one of my issues with all of this that's been going on, is that unfortunately, you know what we're going to have over the next month or two? We're going to have more articles from everyone from the New York Times to USA Today to whatever, telling us how we need to understand these fucking people. There's going to be more articles where we got to go, let's talk to them. Let's get into their mind. Why do they feel this way? But we've got facts. Why don't they believe the facts? We got to do more of that. You know what you never see? You never see articles with Republicans having to come to terms with why they lost. Ever. I don't ever see those. I don't ever see articles where they've got to go, maybe we need to think that. Maybe we need to understand why the whole country doesn't like us. Or maybe we need to understand why we can't win elections with a majority of the vote and we have to rely on gerrymandering in the Electoral College. Never. You don't ever see that. But we will see articles about how we got to understand all these Trump people all over again. And we've seen it for 4 years. And the worst part of that is every time I read one of those articles, I would go, come on, this is bullshit. Just stop when these people come up and they lie to the reporters about why they like Trump. Stop reporting it like it must be true. We all see it. And this week showed it. And they're going to go out there and they're going to talk to those people again and go, we need to understand them.
Okay, yeah, I agree. And I want to circle back to the impeachment thing because here's my prediction, my guess. The Democrats in the House, maybe with a couple of Republican votes, pass articles of impeachment this week. Mitch McConnell doesn't move on them. He waits until Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader. Because why would Mitch McConnell want to oversee an impeachment hearing where he has to protect Donald Trump? He doesn't want to do that anymore. There's nothing in it for him. He might as well let it be Chuck Schumer's headache and let it take up time that would otherwise be used confirming Biden's appointees and cabinet. So what I think is going to happen, we could see a situation where Schumer inherits this, and as James Clyburn was saying on one of the morning shows today, they may push this back 3 months. They may just hold the impeachment trial in the Senate until March or April or May. They don't have to rush into it. And you know what? By that time, you may be able to get more senators ready to convict on the Republican side.
That's something I was talking about, too. I think you got a point there. What I've told everyone is they don't actually I think a lot of people don't realize that they do not have to impeach Trump while he's in office. It can come later. It can absolutely come later. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they wait until after the transition when, you know, maybe opposing Trump isn't something that so many Republicans are pussies about. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that they will pass the articles this week, but they don't have to hold the trial while he is in power.
Yeah.
Or he resigns.
You naive bastard.
Here's the other thing. People keep saying, well, you know, they should 25th Amendment him so he can't pardon himself. Let me tell you something. If Donald Trump intends to pardon himself, those papers are already signed. Just because you haven't heard about it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. And Trump isn't taking a chance that Pence and a couple of cabinet people behind his back might actually invoke the 25th. If he intends to pardon himself, he's already done it.
Yeah, but there'll be such a legal fuss up on that one.
Yeah, there will, yes. But I'm just amused at people who think like, well, he may pardon himself, so we have to do something to prevent that. If it's going to happen, it's already done.
My favorite tidbit from the Sunday morning shows this morning was that that Trump and Pence have not talked to each other since the Capitol Hill thing last week, and Trump hasn't called him and Pence hasn't called, so they've been like just not talking to each other. And Pence is kind of pissed off that
kinda.
Well, you know, Pence only has a very, very narrow range of emotions.
Yeah.
So it only goes from like mildly disturbed to mildly irritated. So he's like, this soup is rather salty.
Is there some story about how